First place in the NFC East is on the line, and isn't it fitting? It's the Eagles and the Cowboys in prime time on Sunday Night Football, a classic rivalry on the biggest stage. And ask anyone in Philadelphia, players, coaches, fans, they'll tell you Cowboys week just feels different. Here's the weather report for tonight's matchup from our friends at NBC 10. A little bit wet, maybe starting to clear up a little bit. It's been some gross weather across the Northeast for the games today. The night in South Philly might be a little bit clearer. We will soon find out. And of course, we are thrilled as always to have you with us here on the Kickoff Show presented by Axalta. I'm Amy Campbell, joined as always by Fran Duffy. And Fran, we've got the NFC East standings here. After a win over the Giants, the Eagles are in first place. Both Philly and Dallas both have 2 wins, but everyone in the building is saying throw the records out when it is this classic rivalry.
Yeah, and I said the same exact thing last week. I think people in both buildings would say, let's throw these records out. They both like to be a little bit better than where they are right now. But as you said, the NFC East is on the line here tonight. The Eagles can really kind of set the tone here for the second half of the season going into the bye week with a win against the Dallas Cowboys. This game means a lot here for the rest of 2020.
And I will probably say it 15 more times, but it does not get any more classic than the NFC East on the line, Eagles and Cowboys Sunday Night Football. All right, let's get back out to Lincoln Financial Field as we watch the players get ready for tonight's battle. The warm-ups, as always, courtesy of PA Lottery, and a lot of good news for the Eagles on the injury front. A lot of guys coming back. We'll start with the offense. Active tonight, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Reagor, Jason Peters. Let's start with Dallas Goedert, back ahead of schedule, and Jalen Reagor, the first rounder who we have not seen since week 2 of this season. Fran, a huge boost to this passing game for the Eagles.
No question. I think when you look at all the injuries that the Eagles offense has suffered going back to the summer, you go to Brandon Brooks and Andre Dillard and Deshaun Jackson and Zach Ertz and Miles Sanders. Really, the only other guy that I would put in the same stratosphere as Dallas Goedert would be Brandon Brooks in terms of the impact that has had on the Eagles offense because of what Dallas Goedert does for the pass game and for the run game. His presence really is going to be a big boost, not just for Carson Wentz, but for the entire operation offensively. I'm really excited to see number 88 back in action here tonight.
Well, and he met with the media earlier this weekend. It was, the most energetic I have seen him. You could just tell he's feeling good. He's excited to get back out there. And what about this guy? Let's talk about bringing some speed back to this offense, Fran. What does Reagor add to this dynamic? And actually, let me get to a Carson Wentz quote here. He said that he is, let's see, where did it go? All right, well, he said something really nice. Oh, it's, he can change a game in a heartbeat. That was what Carson Wentz said about Jalen Reagor earlier this week.
Yeah, and I think really when you look at Jalen Reagor, obviously we saw that in week 1 against Washington, right? We saw that 55-yard catch, the vertical route, the speed, the explosive ability. That's what he can bring. But he's not just a throw it to him deep kind of player. He's not just a gadget player. Expect him to work over the middle of the field. He's going to catch those slant routes. He's going to catch the dig routes. He's going to catch those shallow crosses. So being a reliable receiver for Carson Wentz in the construct of this offense, that's huge for a rookie. And being able to see him here on the national stage, that's going to be big here for number 18 as well.
Well, and talking about a reliable receiver, we just had a look at Travis Fulgham, who has absolutely been reliable for Carson Wentz. Let's take a look at the offensive starters for tonight for the Eagles. We mentioned some of those guys coming back. Dallas Goedert in the lineup, Jalen Reagor in the lineup. Let's talk about the offensive line. Lane Johnson inactive tonight. We weren't sure throughout this week what his status would be for tonight. He will not play tonight, but Jason Peters will be back in the lineup as well. And then Jordan Mailata making that switch from left tackle to right tackle. What do you think the boost is of having a guy like Jason Peters back, and then some experience for Jordan Mailata in his absence?
So, I mean, absolutely. When you get the bodyguard back, when you get a future Hall of Famer back in your lineup, he's going to bring that level of confidence. He's going to bring that level of comfort to that offensive line, to Carson Wentz, to the run game. So you add that along with the youthful exuberance of a Jordan Mailata, right? I mean, we've seen that over the last month, what Jordan has been able to put on film over at the left tackle spot. He has worked at right tackle throughout the course of his career. It's not new to him. It's not foreign to him. It's not any more foreign than just playing the sport of football is to him, right? So it's not like he's been playing left tackle for the last 40 years of his life. This is all still new to him. So I think being able to see him in right tackle, that's going to be big for his projection as well. So I'm excited to see Jordan over on the right side here tonight against Dallas.
Yeah, he said earlier this week, I'm comfortable on both sides. I'm a little more comfortable on the left, but I'm just always happy to get any rep with the ones. And he said, you know, I go back and forth. I move from side to side, and I'm like, oh, what's up, Herbie? What's up, Matt? I'm back, depending on which guard he's next to. Just a guy who does whatever the team needs him to do quite happily. And they're going to be matching up against a Cowboys defense. Talented guys up front on this defense, talent all over the field, but a defense that hasn't necessarily performed particularly well so far this season. They're ranked 27th in total defense. They are last in rushing defense, allowing 178.3 yards per game. So a lot of opportunity for this Eagles run game here tonight as well.
Yeah, I mean, the big stat, we talked about it all week on the Eagle Eye in the Sky podcast, was, you know, they are number one in the NFL right now in yards before contact, defensively on the ground. So they're giving up a lot of ground before the running back is touched. And then they are second worst in yards after contact. So they're not tackling well either. So I think when you look at that, that's a recipe for disaster for a defense. And that's one of the big things that this Dallas group is going to try and fix moving forward. They made some changes from a personnel standpoint. They cut two players that had played a lot of snaps for them. They traded another. So I think when you look at this group defensively, they're just trying to figure out where are they successful? What are they doing well? What can they try and, you know, harness their strength on? And I think that's the big thing. Remember, it's a brand new scheme. They're basically changing everything from what was previously a 4-3 get upfield kind of system to now playing more of a 3-4 in their base downs, and everybody's doing a little bit more reading, a little bit more diagnosing. That's going to take a lot of adjustments. So I think when you look at this scheme, that leads to a lot of the issues that they've had so far.
Well, the Cowboys defense, like you said, struggling against the run game. They're allowing season highs to opposing teams' running backs this season. The Eagles tonight without their star running back, Miles Sanders, but Boston Scott, of course, coming off another great performance against the Giants last week. Let's take a look at the defensive starters here for the Eagles. A lot of opportunity for them tonight against a Cowboys offense that we'll break down. But I think the big thing here that we should notice, not listed as a starter, but the Eagles are going to be getting Malik Jackson back as well this week. He and Javon Hargrave, of course, rotate inside at that second defensive tackle position. So another boost to this front.
Yeah, and the defensive secondary will look as constructed this offseason, really for the first time all year, because now Avonte Maddox fully healthy, Will Parks fully healthy. So you'll see Avonte and Darius Slay on the outside. You'll get Will Parks rotating in there as a third safety at times next to Jalen Mills and Rodney McLeod. Nickel Roby-Coleman goes full-time into the slot. Crayvon LeBlanc is now inactive. So I think when you look at the secondary, this is how they kind of envisioned it coming into the season. I'm excited to see what that group looks like, because the Dallas Cowboys, for all the issues that they've got on the offensive line, they're obviously on their third-string quarterback. They have got some of the best sets of pass catchers in the league, and they play more three-receiver sets than anybody in the NFL. So this secondary, they have got to be up to the task tonight, because Dallas is going to give them a big test.
Well, and let's talk about that Cowboys quarterback. Dak Prescott, of course, lost to the season a few weeks ago, and Andy Dalton out this week with a concussion. So it is seventh rounder out of JMU, James Madison University, Ben DiNucci. What can you tell us about this rookie?
Yeah, he was a longtime starter down there for JMU. He's pretty athletic. He can get around and move a little bit. I think for fans that have never seen him play, which is going to be the majority of people, he played a couple of series late in the game last week against Washington. Think of like a Gardner Minshew style of player, right? He's going to be able to run around. He's going to be accurate. He can get outside the pocket. He's got a decent arm. He doesn't have a cannon for an arm, but he'll get out and make plays. The Eagles have got to pressure him, make him feel uncomfortable. This is a big stage for a rookie seventh-round pick, especially coming from a small school. Sunday night football on the road against a division rival. A lot riding on this game for the Dallas Cowboys. So the Eagles, I'm interested to see what the game plan is coming in. Are they going to try and pressure Ben DiNucci, make him feel a little bit more uncomfortable than he would like to early in this game?
Well, and it is no secret to anyone, this Cowboys offensive line has struggled. They have been hit with injuries pretty intensely this season as well. And of course, with that, they have allowed, especially the last 2 weeks, allowed a lot of sacks. I think it's 9 sacks over their last 2 games. Dak Prescott erased a lot of those things that he was able to do with his legs. And so this offensive line has struggled. There's a lot of opportunity here for an Eagles defense that has really done well in the sack department. 24 total, 3.4 sacks per game. That's 4th in the NFL. And then let's talk about Brandon Graham, because he is tied for 3rd in the NFL, 6 quarterback sacks this season for BG.
Yeah, I was talking with John Clark this week, the host over at Eagles Game Plan, and he has said that Brandon Graham, the only player in the NFL with 6 sacks and 9 tackles for loss. That really speaks to the production that BG has been able to put on the field this year. I think when you look at this defensive line, no matter how you slice it, no matter what number, what stat, what analytic you want to look at, they are outstanding when it comes to pressuring the quarterback using just those 4 linemen. They will blitz selectively. Like I said, I'm interested to see how much the Eagles blitz here tonight. But keep in mind, the Dallas Cowboys, no matter who's been at quarterback, whether it's been Dak Prescott, Andy Dalton, or the rookie Ben DiNucci, the ball is going to come out fast. This Mike McCarthy offense is based on quick game passing, lots of empty sets, especially over the last couple of weeks. Part of that is to protect against that offensive line that's got all the injuries, but you can expect the ball to come out fast. So it'll be up to the Eagles to figure out how they get Ben DiNucci to hold on to the football a tick longer just so that defensive line can get home.
Well, and if we continue to talk about guys back on this defense, TJ Edwards back in the linebacking group. And Fran, it says a lot about the state of things in Dallas this year that we've gotten this far without mentioning Ezekiel Elliott at all. He has been a killer for the Eagles in his career. He's 5-1 against the Eagles, averaging, according to NFL Media Research, 149.8 yards per game against the Eagles. That is the most any player has ever had against this Eagles defense. But he has not had a good couple of weeks, possibly because of that offensive line, possibly because of the quarterback situation there. But containing him, he cannot be overlooked, Fran. He is still one of the best running backs in the NFL.
No question. You can't let Ezekiel Elliott wreck this game if you're the Eagles defense. You have got to keep him contained. I think when you look at him, obviously he has not been able to have the same amount of success we're used to seeing from him in that Dallas run game. Keep in mind, as I mentioned, Mike McCarthy, new offensive scheme. He is all about the pass game, and he has not been running the football to the level of volume that we have seen from Dallas in the past. They're running a lot less. They're running less on first down. Zeke hasn't been able to get into that kind of rhythm. And then over the last couple of weeks, he's put the ball on the grass. So when you have those fumbling issues, that's going to lead to a little bit less confidence there in the head coach as well, especially when he's already a pass-happy kind of coach. So I think when you look at Ezekiel Elliott, that's really one of the big reasons they have not been able to get him going. That being said, with the rookie starting tonight at quarterback, you know that they want to feed number 21.
Absolutely. And of course, if that run game gets going, that always opens up the passing game. Very talented receivers on the edge for Dallas as well. Receivers that the Eagles have also struggled against, especially when it comes to the big plays. Amari Cooper is the main one I'm talking about. And then there's the rookie CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. But Amari Cooper, who has also kind of had the Eagles number in the past couple seasons, a lot of talent on the outside for Dallas as well.
Yeah, I think when you look at this group of receivers, as I mentioned, it's probably one of the best trios in the NFL, and they all kind of have specific roles in this offense. CeeDee Lamb almost exclusively in the slot. He's going to be working over the middle of the field. Amari Cooper, he's their move receiver. They're going to move him around. He'll play inside, outside, a lot of quick game routes, and he'll throw double moves in there as well. We remember that well from the games against the Eagles last year. And then Michael Gallup, they line him up to the boundary outside the numbers, and they just ask him to work vertically. Now, the offensive line for Dallas, they've got to be able to protect long enough to get the ball downfield to Michael Gallup, but he is their vertical receiver. Their 4th and 5th receivers, Noah Brown and Cedric Wilson, they're no slouches either. Dalton Schultz at tight end has made some plays for them. The rookie running back, or the second-year running back, Tony Pollard, he is a good receiver as well. So they've got a lot of pass targets at Ben DiNucci's disposal. Like I said, the secondary, it's a big test here today against this Dallas offense.
Well, and Avonte Maddox said the goal is no touchdowns for any of those guys, less than 100 yards receiving for each guy. That's kind of what the secondary has talked about. And I'm especially excited to see, Darius Slay has been so fun to watch this season, but especially the boost that he provides the secondary. He's had a lot of success against Amari Cooper in his career when he was playing for the Lions. What do you think we could see from that matchup?
I'm interested to see if they decide to shadow Amari Cooper with Darius Slay. That'll be something that I'll be certainly watching. We'll see if they do it every down or if it's just on third downs.
All right, I'm feeling the extra energy from these guys. All right, we, as they start to wrap things up in those warm-ups, of course, we thank PA Lottery and get ready to welcome another part of our team, Dave Spadaro, from the Fox Bet Lounge at Lincoln Financial Field. Dave, as we prepare for a clash of NFC East rivals, these teams have some striking similarities, the injuries most of all. What separates the Eagles and the Cowboys right now?
Amy, I think there's 2 things that really separate these teams. The obvious one is the quarterback position. Carson Wentz, the experienced starter, Ben DiNucci not. But the way the Eagles, through this uneven start, have stuck together no finger pointing, no public complaining about roles. Doug Peterson's done a very nice job of managing everybody through all these injuries. The Dallas Cowboys, on the other hand, have pointed fingers, have blown up the locker room this week, getting rid of 3 defensive players. And so the Cowboys team that comes in tonight, it is a wounded team that really has been in shocking disarray for a first-year head coach who's been experienced. Mike McCarthy's been there, done that, but he's not doing a very good job harnessing this Dallas Cowboys team. So I think that the Eagles' chemistry really is that kind of off-the-field intangible, the striking difference between these two teams.
And Dave, obviously, anytime it's Eagles-Cowboys, the storylines kind of write themselves. But is there one in particular that you're focused in on going into this game?
So my storyline is, can the Eagles show dominance against a bad, let's be honest, the Cowboys are a bad football team. We don't want to see what happened 2 Thursdays ago, okay? Eagles take the lead, and then they let it slip away, and then all of a sudden you're looking at a double-digit deficit late in the fourth quarter. That just doesn't cut it. It's a primetime game. It's at home. First place on the line. Bye-week waiting. Hey, Philadelphia Eagles, show me what you got tonight. Give me 60 minutes and dominate a bad football team.
Yeah, I think that's how you write these things up, Dave. And of course, certainly some opportunity for this Eagles defense to have a dominant night. What do you think this one all comes down to for the Eagles?
You have talked about it, and I think we all agree. What do you do defensively against Ben DiNucci? He's going to run around back there. He's going to make some throws. He wants to get the ball out quickly. I know Jim Schwartz likes to come at you with 4, but I really expect the Eagles to pressure the pocket, take Ezekiel Elliott out of the game, as well as the pass game. He's excellent in the pass game. He's been very productive against the Eagles. And then come after the Dallas Cowboys and Ben DiNucci. Don't lay back and let the Cowboys' excellent group of receivers have catch-and-run opportunities. Go after the pocket, collapse it, cause some havoc, maybe take some chances here. I know keeping everything in front of you is a great idea, but let's go after the Cowboys with some aggressiveness on defense.
All right, we'll have to see what they do tonight. Dave, we will catch up with you after the game.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Fran, for you, what is the key to the Eagles' victory tonight?
To me, we talked about this Dallas defense and the issues that they've had. The eye discipline has been terrible. They've got talent, but they're constantly really kind of struggling with where to look. And so for me, the Eagles have to attack the eyes of the Dallas Cowboys defense. And what do I mean by that? I think when you look at this defense, you said it earlier, Amy, they've got talent, especially at linebacker. Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, 2 talented players. They've made plays in the NFL. But if you give them things in the backfield to look at in this scheme, they're just a little bit too reactive. Throw a guy in jet motion, right, from left to right, or from right to left here. Get those guys flowing sideline to sideline, and now that opens things up in the middle of the field or on the opposite side. You get crossing routes going that way, the run game going that way. Or you can go with orbit motion, get receivers running behind Carson Wentz. That sets up the run game, that sets up the screen game, so you can do a lot of different things off of these orbit motions. The Eagles have had some success doing things just like that. And then you have the run action, just basic play action. And this isn't just on the linebackers, the safeties as well. You might get Carson Wentz off the bootleg, running off to the right. You can get some zone reads off that, all kinds of options there off of basic play action plays. Even the corners are making mistakes off basic play action. So the Eagles, if they could just give that Dallas defense a lot of eye candy in the backfield, I think that'll really pay dividends for them over the long haul in this game.
All right, and for me, I'm saying tonight the Eagles need to keep the Cowboys receivers in check. Again, something we have talked about. Ezekiel Elliott has not been that dominant guy the last couple of weeks, and I think maybe it's the offensive line, maybe it's the quarterback, probably a combination of the two. But in the last couple of weeks, he's rushed for less than 50 yards and 0 touchdowns. So I don't know, I'm just less concerned about him tonight against the Eagles, and I'm more concerned about those guys on the outside. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and you mentioned, friend, the other ones. There's a lot of talent on the outside that we have broken down. And so I think as long as the Eagles can pressure the quarterback, can hold Ezekiel Elliott in check and not get beat by those big plays on the outside, that to me is the formula for success. That is what I am watching in tonight's matchup. All right, let's check in with the great Merrill Reese and Mike Quick to see who they'll have their eyes on tonight.
Thank you, Amy. There have been more beautiful nights at the Link, but it's always ugly, tough football when the Eagles meet the Dallas Cowboys. Mike Quick, who is your player to watch?
Because I think he can do it again. I'm going the little big man. I'm going number 35, Boston Scott. Had a big game here last week. I think Boston Scott is going to be big against this Dallas Cowboys defense that's leaking oil.
My guy to watch is back in the lineup for the first time in a while, and that is the number 1 draft choice, Jalen Reagor. Keep your eye on number 18. He has speed. He loves to run after he catches the football. I think he can have a big night. Back to you, Amy.
Well, if the past few seasons have taught us anything with this Eagles team, it's that they thrive in the underdog role. This year, that has been especially evident in the fourth quarter. After the Eagles have gotten behind early, they've rallied to get back in the game. Our own Mike Quick asked Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz about the team's late game momentum and more in this week's one-on-one presented by Pondla Hockey.
Carson, first of all, thanks for joining us, man. Sunday Night Football, Dallas Cowboys. Now, you've been around this for 5 years now. What's the big difference? You know, you've had the fans there to 68,000, now with just 6,000 maybe. What's the big difference?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of just hit it on the head. It is the fans, and it's different. But this is one that we all love. We all cherish. We love playing Sunday Night Football first and foremost and being on national television. But anytime we play Dallas, it's a game you don't forget. It's a game, you know, the fans circle on their calendar every year, and we know that. So we know there's a little extra energy and passion invested into this one. And for us, it's a divisional rival, and it's always a big, meaningful game, and this one's no different. You know, regardless of the records, it's going to be a heavy-hitting, you know, fun ball game, and we're excited for it.
In the past few games, you've gotten behind a little bit, but in the fourth quarter, just outstanding, coming back in the fourth quarter. What is it about those situations that seem to bring out the best in you guys, and you especially?
Yeah, I think it's just, you know, we have our backs up against the wall in all these situations, and it's obviously not where we want to be. We'd love to have the lead and kind of grind it out, but it's the hand we're dealt, and, you know, I think we can do a better job earlier in games and making more plays, but at the end of the game, when our backs are against the wall, guys are just stepping up, rallying around each other and believing. I think that's one of the biggest things. Also, you got 3 quarters to build off of, and okay, this is how the DBs are playing us, or this is their scheme. So you can kind of, you know, make adjustments on the fly, and I think we've done a good job of that and putting ourselves in situations to come back, to make plays, to either go up or to tie ball games. And we can do a better job earlier in games, so we don't have to rely on that so frequently, but it's been good to see from a lot of these guys.
I know you've explained it in the past, but what is it about tempo that seems to work well for you?
I think for us, it simplifies things and allows us to play fast, but at the same time, it simplifies defenses. You know, maybe they're out of their zones or they're out of their gaps in the run game, or they get tired, and I think it's just an advantage to us over the years. I think it's been successful for us when we're just playing fast and doing those things. But at the end of the day, it's not our identity, and that's the biggest thing. You got to just know when to use it and mix it in, and I think Coach does a good job of that. But I would say it's been pretty successful for us for sure.
Last few games, we've seen a little more running from Carson, whether it's the zone read or it's the RPO. You're being decisive and taking off and running. What is the value in that, and how does that stretch the defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime that stuff happens and defenses have to prepare for that on film, I think during the week it stresses them out because they got to prepare. That's another layer of something that they got to practice against and be ready for, but it helps our offense. You know, anytime they want to, you know, play coverage and spread out, you know, it gives us the ability to still convert in, you know, the 3rd and 3 from last game or certain situations. And it's not a big part of what we do. It's not something I'm going looking for, hey, coach, let me run the ball, but there's a time and a place for it, and sometimes these zone reads, it's just reading the guy. So, I mean, there's a 50-50 chance on a lot of these plays, and, you know, they're going to tackle our better runners, so sometimes I got to make a play, make something happen.
You look at this Dallas defense, and statistically, they're one of the worst defenses in football. Why is it so important for you not to focus on that, not to pay any attention to that aspect of the Dallas Cowboys defense?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we still see the same defense we've seen over the years as far as players. We know what they're capable of. We know they got a lot of ability, a lot of talent on that side of the ball. And so we got to be smart. We got to execute. You know, I think some of their stuff this year and giving up big plays or missed assignments, things like that. So I think throughout the year they get better and they start to realize where these mistakes are happening. So we know what they're capable of on defense. They're capable of playing really sound, disciplined football. And so we got to be smart. We got to be smart, play fast, and execute. You know, take what's there. You know, I think they play a lot of soft zone coverage, and kind of the same thing you've seen the last couple of weeks is just take what's there, and the big plays will come. But take what's there and just move the chains, and we got to do a good job of that.
So what I think has most impressed me, Fran, about Carson this season is he is always all in through the adversity, through making mistakes. You look around this league and see guys emotionally bail under those circumstances. Dave touched on it even with Dallas earlier tonight, and Carson never stops fighting. What do you take away from his performance through the first part of the season?
Yeah, I think you've seen that resiliency show up in a number of different ways. We've seen it show up in game where he has, he's had his struggles and then has been able to bounce back late and lead the team to victory. We saw that last week against New York. I remember Amy on the postgame show talking about how that was something that they saw from him in college. And on the Journey to the Draft podcast just last week, we had an Eagles area scout on, and he talked about, hey, the game that really sold me on Carson Wentz was a game where he did not play well in the first couple quarters, but he shook that off and came back and led them on a 2-minute drive to win the game in the fourth quarter. That's what you're looking for from your starting quarterback, because it's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies for him every time he steps under center in an NFL game. That's just the nature of playing in the league. So seeing a guy have that kind of resiliency, that ability to fight through adversity, that is huge. And it's really an important quality to have if you're going to be a starting quarterback. Carson Wentz has shown that he's got that in spades.
Well, there are quarterbacks in this league who, when they're on the field, the team always has a chance to win no matter what part of the game it is. Carson absolutely has that quality. Let's talk a little bit about his matchup tonight. He has been, in his career, really solid against the Cowboys. In the win-loss column, 3-4, but Carson's numbers against the Cowboys have been really good. I think it's 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I think we have those for everyone. But what do you think about his matchup here tonight?
Yeah, I think it's all going to be about trying to figure out ways to, like I said earlier, attack the eyes of the Dallas defense. You find different ways to create those one-on-one matchups. He's got some firepower getting back to the lineup this week with Dallas Goedert, with Jalen Reagor. I'm excited to see what he could do, especially with a guy like Travis Fulgham, who's starting to establish himself as well. Boston Scott came through with the big play late last week. So I think when you look at all the guys around him, he has shown confidence in him. John Hightower, the rookie 5th-round pick, showing confidence in him down the stretch, late in games, to come up with big plays down the field. I mean, I'm excited to see what Carson Wentz is able to do against Dallas here tonight.
Well, it always takes a complete team effort against any team in the NFL, especially in a rivalry against the Cowboys. So we'll see if they can put it all together tonight. All right, Eagles fans, you still have some more opportunity to be in the stands at Lincoln Financial Field this season. Eagles fan cutouts are still available. Cutouts are just $100, and all net proceeds benefit the Eagles Autism Foundation. Order yours at PhiladelphiaEagles.com/cutouts. So the real question now is, am I about to see the real Fran Duffy or the cutout Fran? It's the real Fran Duffy. Please stand up.
No, it's funny you asked that, because I asked him after last week's show. I said, look, can you just hang out here for another week? We'll see you here next week. Amy, he got bored. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, my gosh. All right. On that note, that's amazing. I love that. Good. I love that. I thought that was hilarious. All right, we are going to take a quick break. We will be right back. The Philadelphia Eagles and Axalta Coating Systems are building a roster of all-pro teachers. Go to PhiladelphiaEagles.com/Axalta All-Pro Teachers to view this year's list of outstanding recipients. And as we get closer to kickoff, this guy, Dallas Goedert, active and excited to be back tonight against the Cowboys, looking for a big night there from the Eagles tight end. And also back tonight, for the first time since week 2, the rookie sensation Jalen Reagor. A lot of boost, a lot of firepower to this offense. Some new weapons for Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz. Should be a lot of fun. All right, that brings us to 15 minutes before kickoff, and I feel like I need like a bell or like a whistle or something, like I'm a game show host. Like Fran, tell them what that means.
Well, you've got 15 minutes at home, and I've got one thing that you can do with those 15 minutes, and that's saving 15% or more by switching to Geico.
All right, kickoff cannot come soon enough for this game. And as always, as soon as the game is over, you can join us right here for instant reaction of the Eagles Cowboys on the postgame show presented by Rico. Ike Reese joins Fran and myself to break it all down, as well as coach and players live. And before I let everybody go, remember Election Day just a couple days away. If you need help with your voting plan, PhiladelphiaEagles.com/vote. Make your voice be heard. For now, we have one of the NFL's biggest rivalries on Sunday Night Football, a battle for first place in the NFC East between the Eagles and the Cowboys. See you on the other side.